Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good afternoon to all of you friends from the ASEAN countries. Thank you very much for having us to share about the tourism industry, especially with the how we want to open Langkawi and what happens after that. So to begin with, maybe let's see our first slide. Okay, mitigating the socio-economic impacts on livelihood of tourism businesses and workers. Okay, this we would like to share with you today is about in solving that problem, how we do a domestic travel bubble. We just do domestic first because we believe that we just do a test and see how things go within the country, and not doing international yet, because we have to be very careful and we have to be knowledgeable about how to handle things when things go wrong and so on. That's why we choose Langkawi is a pilot project. Okay, how does this thing come about? As what Miss Christine have shared, and our friends, Mr. Jens also have shared, the tourism industry is a big impact. Is the most impacted industry when the COVID cases is starting into our country. Now, for example, if you look at in 2020, we have about a loss of about 135 billion. As that's not big enough. And 2021, we lost even more. It's about 165 billion. And the areas, of course, in the tourism areas, we have the travel and tour operators business and the transportation. The airlines are crying. Some of the pilots are now selling mee curry or selling burgers, you know. And then the cruise people, the taxi drivers, the bus, train, motorcycles. If you go to Malacca, you have the tricycle or trishaws, you know. They are all impacted. And in the accommodation part, we have the hotel industry, the apartments, people who are in the homestays, chalets, vacation homes, rest. These are all affected, and suddenly they have no job, or suddenly their salary is cut down to half. And we look into the other segments on the excursion side. When people move around, they would like to go to museums, to the theme park, the zoos. There were some meetings, the retails, they want to buy things. For example, in Langkawi, they buy chocolates and everything. The culture and art centers, for everything was like suddenly on a standstill. As we are aware, tourism is about mobility. When you're not allowed to move, how can this thing move? So like the money doesn't move, the people doesn't move, and everybody is waiting for when is my next salary is to be paid, because everything is on standstill. Okay, I will look at this tourism contributors to the local livelihood. It's about, it provides jobs to about 3.6 million people in Malaysia. And in Malaysia, it's about 1 in every 4 jobs are in the tourism industry. So we look, for example, the amount, if we were to break down by citizens, 88% are Malaysians who are in the tourism industry, and we have about 9,000 tourist guides have got no jobs to do. There's no guide, there's no movement of people, no tourism, and guiding is not in demand, so they are like jobless, and that involve about 36,000 households. And in Langkawi alone, there was so much heavily on tourism. The loss of tourism expenditure was about 1 billion, with 60,000 industry players affected and facing loss of jobs. So if we were to look at the other components about the employment level, about 70% are the non-executive, which is the lower category. They are the one who are the most affected, because their families are big, they are the breadwinner of the family, and yet they are, like, you know, in a way jobless and things like that. And we look at this on the left side, this green thing. This is very interesting. I'm sure everyone is aware of this, but we just can we imagine, in the tourism industry, the moment you're allowed, tourism is allowed to open, the cruise line business will open, the airline business, the motor coach, the rental car, the train, is all about moving, travel. And as you move around, the banks will be alive again, the restaurants will be alive, and the meeting convention business, the shopping, the sport arenas, if you come because of sport tourism, recreation, the theme parks and things like that, and the fuel industry. You know, if you are for local domestic, for example, you have to fill on in your gas and things like that. The theater industry, the entertainment, travel agents, accommodation, all will be lively if tourism is allowed to do. And rule number 1 is about mobility. And you look at the people, it will pay salary to the categories of people: the frontliner, the tourist guides, the police, the driver, the hotel maids, the cruise people in the cruise industry, the chef, the waitress, and even then, if you know nasi lemak, the nasi lemak vendors, you know, the moment you go out of your house, you'll be looking about things to buy, because as you are on vacation, you start to be happy that I want to spend, I want to spend, I want to buy, I want to buy. But if you're not allowed to move, this money is just kept in the house. Okay, and then we look more when these people that I said will be able to service in the tourism industry, they will end up being able to pay for their daily expenses. For example, they want to pay for their phone bills, paying the banks, paying for shopping, for the school of the children, to pay for the real estate, the house, you know, the monthly payment for your house, and for your transportation, monthly payments, even for hospitals, for your, even for your pets, you know, you want your cats to have vitamins, and all this all depends on money, food on the table, but you need to get a job. Okay, shall we move? And for this reason, we start thinking that, because of course we love our people, we want everyone to be alive. So we start telling them, stay at home, and make sure you are safe. And when you stay at home, there is no job, and how to get money. So we start thinking that we must slowly do it safely, because we want to do it right from the very beginning. So we start thinking of, maybe we open up one destination that we believe is the safest to open. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, then we talk about, why not you open Langkawi? Why? Because we have some reasons why we believe this is the best destination to start with. First, it's a strategically positioned island resort. And in Langkawi, we have the best world-class facilities, from the average one for people like me, you know, to the rich and famous people. You have the 5-6 star hotel if you want it. Langkawi has it. And next is about, they have good itineraries that can be tailor-made, and we can to the places of interest that we have. There's so many attractions there. And also, it's the significant impact on the economy and the risk of controllable epidemic transmission. We believe we can control people coming in and out, because there's no way by road. It's only by ferry, it's only by flight. And we can really siphon every single person that comes in to the level that we want. So the so for this reason, we say, maybe we start with Langkawi. And you know, some of the islands also start asking, why not us, why Langkawi? So this is our reason. Let's start with one, and we see what happens. Okay, when we say we want to start Langkawi, there are a few processes that takes place, because you want to be very careful to make sure we do it right. So number one, we propose the reopening as agreed as an initiative under MOTEC, stands for Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, and so for a tourism rehabilitation plan. And then we start having an implementation framework, which was presented to the National Security Council, Pandemic Management Technical Working Committee. So we present to them, we want to do this, and we say that this is the SOPs that we have in mind. From the moment you leave your house to the moment you leave the island. It's a long thing. So maknanya, meaning to say, you leave your house, and what happens when you take the plane, what happens when you arrive on the island, and what happens you go to the places. So you have to behave yourself, who are watching you, because we watch them because we like them, because you want to be sure that they are safe and they make the other people safe. So there's a lot of these rules and regulations. Enjoy yourself, but don't forget these new norms that everybody is to adhere to. So after we agreed on that, now it's talking about the pre-opening, the middle part. Yeah. So the pre-opening, we have engagement session with all the stakeholders, including the industry players, the product owners, business, and various ministries and agencies. We have because both us, we being the tourism COVID unit, we do it together with LADA, which is the person in charge of Langkawi. We sit together agency by agency. For example, today we are discussing with this logistics, the airlines and the ferry, what are do's and don'ts, what are the things that possibly happen, is the size enough, is the space enough. So so we have discussions about how to mobilize people correctly when they come into Langkawi. And we also have sessions with the hotel about are they ready to receive these tourists, and also with these travel agencies. And last but not least, we also have engagement session with the these duty-free shops. So these are among the 4 components that is important in opening of Langkawi. So after going through that, we have a preparation of the draft of the SOP, and we present it to the committee again, the working group committee on this pandemic, to say that we have got this SOP ready. We have discussed with the industry. Okay, so now how do we start? So the SOP for Langkawi as a pilot project was submitted to be gazetted, and finally is gazetted under the Act of 342. So once we are ready with that, at that time we are supposed to open Langkawi on the 1st, but something not so good happens in Langkawi. So we discuss and we say maybe 16. Let Langkawi prepare themselves very well. So Alhamdulillah, on the 16th we start, and until now, Langkawi is having a good time receiving tourists day by day. Okay, so what happens after we open Langkawi? This is the good news we have. So we have this domestic travel bubble, it's kind of small report. So arrival by air, as per 16 to 22nd of September, we have more than 10,000 people coming into Langkawi. And by sea is about 5,000. So total is about more than 15,000 people between 16 to 22nd of September. And as you are aware, we do a screen, we make it compulsory for screening tests at the airport and the jetty. It's only 19 positive cases that were found before they depart. And of course, we advise them not to come to Langkawi. But we promise them something good. I will share with you later. For those who cannot come to Langkawi, they just don't have to cry, but they are being allowed to come when they are ready. And then we have also the screen again. So on the travel agencies, the booking were up by 70% for until end of the year. The shopping activities increased by 30%, and that was beginning. I think by now it should be more. And the occupancy rate will jump about 79% for 4-5-star, 3-star, and so things are building up. So everything in this in Langkawi seems to be working well as planned. Okay, this is about when earlier we were saying anybody who is double vaccinated can just come to Langkawi. You are domestic, you are one family, you can come. But suddenly we realized that maybe we have to do some kinds of assessment at the airport and entry point. So for this reason, we say that from across the entire country you can come, unless you are under the movement control order, but then you cannot come. And minimum stay in Langkawi is about, there's no limit. You can stay for 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, or 1 year. It's up to you. So we are welcoming everyone, no minimum or maximum length of stay. Travel Langkawi and return to original destination requires a police permit through the services of travel agent will do for you, but you will need a police permit to prove that you are really going to Langkawi, because at this point of time, we do not want people to misuse this facility by going to visit their families, because visiting families is not allowed yet. There is a social category which we are still more careful now. And number 4 is those traveling by air, because you are confirmed going to fly to that point, so that you don't need a police permit. You do not even need a licensed travel agent, because all these things is only to make sure that you go to Langkawi, not to other places. Last is for those who have to adjust to ferry. For example, you arrive at the terminal, the ferry is no more there, it finishes its service. So it makes sense for you to stay overnight in Kedah or Perlis, which is the nearest state for you to go to the jetty. Okay, this is the travel bubble SOP. You must be fully vaccinated. For children under the age of 17 years old or below, must be accompanied by a fully vaccinated parents. And then for all Malaysian citizens, because this is for domestic market, as you're aware, but we consider the foreigners of this category as domestic market, meaning to say the non-citizens of Malaysia include expatriate, Malaysia my second home, international students here, the healthcare, people who and the families, permanent residents are all considered as domestic markets, and they're allowed to go to Langkawi. And then the type of holiday, so you can come for a day trip, you can stay overnight, and you can stay, as I said, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, all is allowed. And holiday with accommodation booking, pre-booking tickets, you must prove that. And holiday package booked with a licensed travel agency. Okay, you must, it's all about, you must prove that you're going to Langkawi. Because at this point, as I said earlier, we are not opening people to go to other places yet, but only for Langkawi. Okay, the medium of transport, you can go by private vehicles, or you hire, you use travel agency services. But All this only for people, if you to use your own private vehicle, only for the border to the jetty, which means the state of Kedah and Perlis. Other than that, you have to come, you go by a travel agency, and air by direct flights, air travel is allowed, sea travel is allowed, and passengers full capacity. This is not normal in other places. Like, we do not allow people to have to travel in full capacity at this point of time. But for Langkawi, everything goes. It's like you suddenly upgrade Langkawi into a phase 4 where everything is possible. Okay, and then we have the test. The screening test. So screening can be done for those who want to come to Langkawi. Make it like you can have your test done in private health facilities, so that within 44 hours you come to the airport, just show that you have done your negative. You can just travel. The other one is you can also purchase a saliva test kit from any pharmacy or whatever, and bring it to the airport and do the testing there. The third one is you get the services of these people at the airport to prove that you are negative. So you want to make sure that before you drop your bag, you're proven negative. We cannot have you going on board. Dropping your bag and suddenly you are positive, and you want to withdraw back your bags that have been checking. That will be very inconvenient for other people. So all this happens before you even drop your bag at the airport and at the ferry terminal. Okay, introducing to our Malay language. Why we have this in Malay language? Because this is the original SOP which is in our website for this in our ministry, and also in the national website. So actually, this is generally saying about the do's and don'ts and the procedures about going to Langkawi. But I just like to share with you on these general conditions. For example, you must be swabbed, test, and then negative. Insurance is not required, but you may if you want to, and the age is 17 below. Other than that, these are the checklists to make sure that you have proof of that you are double vaccinated in your MySejahtera, which is our national COVID information. You must have your identification. This is normal. And then you have the police letter and the travel agency information, your itinerary, the package that you buy, and proof that you're buying a hotel service in Langkawi. And then documents, any other documents. Whenever you are asked by the police if you want to be on the road or things like that, you have to be prepared with this. Other than that, you are safe. You can just go to Langkawi happily. This is the most important question that people want to know. Like, what can I do there in Langkawi? So this list tells you about the activities that you can do. Actually, it's almost everything. You look there. You can go into the hotel, you can go to the homestay, and then you can go swimming, to the gym, lounge, or for business events, you can go into a hall to do something, events in the hall. And it's all about, when you say SOP for phase 4, it means like it is open for almost everything. So you can go to attractions at the beaches, swimming, snorkeling, diving, or fishing, or edutainment, recreation, extreme adventure, nature park, farms, aquariums, you name it, zoo, recreation, social activities, and also special interests like golfing, scuba diving, cycling, angling, yachting, and everything, and even eco adventure activities, bird watching, caving, mountain climbing. We have to specify, because in some phases these things are not allowed. But when it's phase 4, everything. But we tell them we suggest you can go whitewater rafting, hiking, jungle trekking, camping, or you watching cultural activities, going to the library to see a theater, to go to the museums, or academic visits to the geopark, and also spa, reflexology. You have your massage on the feet, and pedicure, manicure. So it's almost like life goes as usual. Okay. This is the new thing. So the tourists who are positive during the screening at the airport, this is the good news I'd like to share with you. If they are found positive at the airport or at the jetty, they're not allowed to continue their journey, but are managed by the Ministry of Health Procedures. So they will be very sad, of course. So, but what we do to make them happy is, with the airports of Malaysia Association of Hotels, Malaysia Associations of Hotel Owners, MAHO, and MIBA, these are all hotel associations. They said that tourists are stranded due to failing health screening. test can postpone their visit to another date, subject to terms and conditions of bookings made through registered tourist accommodation premises. And also the airlines were very nice enough to say that you can, if related to flight cancellations, and you can have your refund claims or tickets subjected to the terms agreement. For example, but among the terms and conditions is like if your ticket is during the special promotion, it's only 80 ringgit to Langkawi, but when you come there later on will be about 300 ringgit. So you just pay the difference of the 80. So the 80 is counted in. At least you don't lose your money. Okay, is that good? Good? No? No good? Okay. So the responsibility of licensed companies. So this actually, even if this is all a PR exercise, but even if they refuse to, we have an act. We call it the Tourism Industry Act 1992, which will cover people for this kind of situations. And MIFCOM, being the Association of Airlines, was welcome the airline's decision to postpone flight dates for travelers who tested positive. So in our case, the people who cannot fly, they can at least still dream on flying in a deferred date. Okay, to make Langkawi more lively, we even Mohd as a tourism ministry, we bring, we have buskers who have not got jobs for so long. They're not allowed to perform during the COVID time. So we're bringing about 8 group of buskers to play in all these places. In the airport, when you arrive, you see suddenly buskers are receiving you with some nice songs. For those who come by Koa Ferry Terminal, you have buskers playing at the cable car while waiting for your turn. The queue is very long. The buskers are playing music for you. And HIG is a complex where more for domestic market, people buy chocolates and coral and things like that, household products. So you have these people playing music in Chenang Square, Lang Square, Underwater World, Tanjung Ru Square. So to us, to kickstart the island, besides having good procedures and so on, we want people to have to believe and feel that Langkawi is alive again. So we have all these musics around Langkawi. Okay, this is the latest announcement by the government, which I'm sure you'll be asking about this, but now I tell you what the government has just announced. They say the opening of tourism centers and the allowance to cross border, which means it's about mobility. The other day, we cannot go anywhere because we cannot cross interstate. For example, we are in Selangor, Kuala Lumpur, we cannot go to Negeri Sembilan, we cannot go to Malacca. So they say that you can cross border the moment the country, the country achieve 90% of vaccinated for the adults, which is if the adults in Malaysia reach 90%. Now we are actually reaching, we have 93% who have got first dose. So in 3 weeks' time, we believe all these people will be in the second dose. That means that we are almost ready. So in 3 weeks' time, actually, the scenario of the country will be very different. We do not have to open face by face or what, but the whole border will be open for you to be moving around. Mobility will be as usual. But before that, we were announcing like Tioman, Genting Highlands, and Malacca to be open on the 1st. But this is a bigger announcement, which tells that let's wait for 90% national achievement. The whole country is like a highway. Okay, so this is Malay. Anybody knows what does it mean in Malay? Dah bersedia? Nak pergi ke Langkawi? You don't know? Okay, let me translate for you. Are you ready? So they say, are you ready? Do you want to go to Langkawi? So if you want, there's something I'd like to share with you for being nice audience, as a tribute for you who were not in Langkawi when they were being launched. I have a very interesting video. I like it so much that I asked from the Langkawi people, because maybe I asked because to keep it for you. So this video is dedicated to all of you. Is done during the opening or launching of Langkawi on the 15th of September. So please stay tuned. So the question come, are you ready to come to Langkawi, everyone?